So what made you sought after this fight with Canelo?
Canelo's a great fighter. You know, he's respected. I'm a fan of Canelo. And like I said before, Canelo is the last of the great fighters that's available to fight. Canelo's at 168. It's a big task, but I'm always up for it. Big risk, big reward. And I want to be the first ever boxer to be a three-weight undisputed world champion.
Talk to me about like the business of this fight, because it's live on Netflix. This is your first time fighting on Netflix.
Right.
How does this fight come together as opposed to like typical fights that you've had in the past?
Well, it's all the same. You know, at the end of the day, you got the promotion, you got the network coming out, and they shooting you, and they promoting the fight. It's just, you know, on a different network.
This is the best fight in boxing, bar none. You know, we've got two of the best fighters in the world, and Terence Crawford trying to do what no other's done before, a four division world champion, and, you know, jumping up from light middleweight now to super middle, trying to achieve the unachievable against Canelo Alvarez, who is...
Former boxer Spencer Oliver issued a stark warning. Canelo is walking into what could be the toughest test of his entire career. He framed Terence Crawford's upcoming challenge as a dangerous road, one that can either elevate a fighter into legend or strip everything away. What makes this moment even more striking is the shift in tone from Eddie Hearn, a promoter who once stood firmly in Canelo's corner but now publicly leans toward Crawford. Hearn explained that if Crawford chooses to fight with movement and patience, his chances of controlling the bout increase dramatically. That observation carries weight, not only because of Hearn's experience, but because it highlights a real vulnerability in Canelo's style. Crawford isn't just fast and skilled, he's calculated, and that makes him a nightmare for anyone who struggles with elusive, technical opponents. If Canelo spends 12 rounds chasing shadows, the balance of power in boxing could tilt before our eyes. Hearn's change of heart signals more than just a promoter's opinion, it hints that the once unthinkable is now firmly in play. Suddenly, the matchup feels bigger than a clash between two fading giants. It's a test of adaptability, of weight, and of legacy itself.
I mean, it's two guys that are coming towards the back end of their careers, but two legends, pound-for-pound legends of the sport. A fascinating fight between two guys with tremendous ring IQ. I guess the big conversation is how the weight will affect Bud and how he will respond to the size. You know, we got a situation where in Los Angeles, Crawford didn't look that big against the 154. In fact, I thought Madrimov looked the bigger, the stronger guy in that fight. I thought it was a very, very close fight, that fight. Now you're going up two divisions at 168 for Canelo Alvarez, who is, you know, a pound-for-pound legend of the sport. Against Skull, he didn't look great. You know, the movement didn't look great.
The final hurdle, Hearn explained, isn't just skill, it's the leap in weight. He reminded everyone that Crawford barely looked imposing at 154, yet here he is, stepping into 168 pounds against one of boxing's most physically dominant champions. On paper, that kind of jump borders on reckless. Still, Hearn admitted that Crawford has a way of defying expectations, making logic bend to his talent and composure. The true question is whether skill alone can overcome sheer size. That's the equation this fight will attempt to solve. It's not just about landing punches, it's about withstanding the return fire in a division stacked with natural power punchers. What happens when Crawford, brilliant as he is, has to absorb the kind of shots a super middleweight delivers? That's where the real danger lies. Hearn called it the $1 million factor for a reason. It's not simply about whether Crawford can box beautifully, it's whether his body can hold up when the exchanges get heavy. And that uncertainty turns this showdown into one of the most intriguing gambles the sport has seen in years.
That's really the $1 million question. How can he hang at 168? When you spend time with both of them, they're both so confident, you actually can't see him losing. Bud talks a brilliant game, and he's walked the walk continuously. And he has probably the best boxing IQ in the game. I probably, and you know, Canelo's my guy, but I probably lean slightly.
Hearn admitted that envisioning either man losing is difficult because both fighters carry unshakable confidence into the ring. Still, he leaned in with a telling compliment for Crawford, praising his sharp mind and his ability to adapt in the heat of battle. For someone who has long admired Canelo's career, this subtle shift was striking. Hearn confessed that, for years, he held a quiet bias against Crawford, until a series of recent performances forced him, and the public, to re-evaluate. That rare moment of transparency revealed just how much Crawford's stock has risen, not only in the eyes of fans but also among those who once doubted him. Today, Bud, Crawford commands respect at the highest level. And yet, the conversation doesn't end there. Even with Canelo positioned as the betting favorite, the dynamic has shifted. The fight is no longer framed as a routine defense of Canelo's dominance, it has become a test that feels both unpredictable and historic, with respect and doubt now colliding in equal measure.
Canelo will be a favourite going in, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Crawford could do it.
Hearn made it clear, an upset here wouldn't shock him in the slightest. Crawford has built his career on ignoring the odds and silencing the names stacked against him before the opening bell even rings. That's why this fight isn't simply about fan hype or ticket sales, it's about whether Crawford can once again bend the sport to his will and redefine what's possible. By declaring himself ready for the challenge, Crawford reinforces his image as boxing's most dangerous outsider, the fighter who steps into hostile territory and still finds a way to win. Yet, even with his admiration for Crawford's skill, Hearn admitted his concern for how the contest might unfold. He's seen this movie before. Canelo, undone by Dimitri Bivol's precision and discipline, left searching for answers against a style he couldn't solve. Hearn suggested that Crawford could draw directly from that blueprint, using movement, timing, and patience to frustrate the Mexican champion. If that happens, the upset isn't just possible, it's a real and looming threat.
I think Bivol really did set the blueprint of how to beat Canelo Alvarez. You know, what you do is you're slick, but you throw punches in bunches, you move into range, bomb, 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 out of range. You do it again, because Canelo's not that active. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. And he hates movement, hates it. Crawford's got, Crawford, to be honest, Crawford's got to probably make it a little bit of a...
Hearn reflected on Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol, pointing out how the Russian's slick footwork, stiff punches, and relentless rhythm gradually broke him down. In Hearn's view, Crawford has the ability to execute that very same strategy, but with even greater sharpness. If he can force Canelo to constantly chase, the balance of power could swing early. The message behind Hearn's words was clear: unless Canelo has truly adapted since that defeat, he risks falling into the same trap again. This fight isn't just about protecting a legacy, it's about proving he can learn from past mistakes and evolve against a style that once exposed him. That's why the opening rounds take on outsized importance. Hearn believes Crawford won't waste time feeling things out, he'll step in with intent, set the pace immediately, and try to grab control before Canelo can settle. If that happens, the tone of the entire fight could be decided long before the championship rounds.
Just win rounds. And I think Crawford will win rounds in those fights.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially the early rounds. So Canelo may have to do something and try, because he's not that active. I don't think he really wants to work